Now, today, we are gonna see, what if Naruto was Dark Lord, and made Ino Yamanaka his slave? Part 2. Join Patreon for early ACESS and exclusive content of Super Op stories. Also adult and steamy Harry Potter stories too. Please subscribe this channel, because definitely I will try my best to provide a valuable content for you all. Also check the description to support the original author for this beautiful creation. Naruto had taken what Kakashi said to heart. He refused Sakura's notion. "Hey, Naruto," a voice called. He turned to see Ino walking towards him. "Hello Ino-chan," he greeted, ignoring her blush. "What are you up to?" "I just finished team training," she answered. "What about you?" "Same here," he agreed. "Now I need to do some cloths show." He never had a chance to finish before his fellow blonde started dragging him around. "I thought you would never realize it," she gushed. "As an expert in the field of shopping, I will aid you." Something told him to just go with it. "Fine, alright, tell me what you're looking for in your outfit," Ino ordered. "I need something that's loose enough for me to be flexible, but not enough to be baggy and caught." Naruto listed. "It needs to be inconspicuous and still be practical." "Anything else?" she questioned. "No, I leave myself in your capable hands." Naruto smiled. Ino looked at her Elo blonde smile and couldn't help but blush. "Well, none are more capable than I," she declared. "We're here." Naruto looked to see that they were at a ninja-only store. It was also one of the stores that kicked him out because of his fuzzy situation. "Are there any other stores?" he asked his fellow blonde. "What do you mean? This place is one of the best," she stated. Naruto said nothing else as they walked inside. The store was full of useful material, he had to admit that. Not just shinobi clothing, but weapons as well. "Hello Yamanaka-chan, what can I?" The owner stopped when he laid eyes on Naruto. "I'm sorry, but we're closed for the day." "What? Why?" Ino asked. "Certain circumstances prevent me from mentioning it," he answered as he motioned his head towards Naruto. "What is he going on about?" Ino asked herself. Naruto had walked away to study the inventory as soon as he entered, but he had been listening. Another demon hater, another fool. He had only looked up long enough to give an empty look to the owner. Then he made his way outside. "Hey, Naruto," Ino called as she followed behind. "Wait up." She had caught up with her fellow blonde only to see that he was busy. He seemed to be having a conversation with the elderly bandaged man. When he was done, he turned and came back to her. "What was that all about?" Ino asked. "It turns out I won't be needing to shop," Naruto answered. "Everything has been taken care of." "Oh, well that's good," she replied uncertainly. They stood there in silence for a moment, neither knowing what to say. Thankfully, Ino's stomach did. "Would you like to get something to eat?" he asked. Ino looked at her fellow blonde and gained a predatory smirk. She leaned in and placed a finger on Naruto's shirt. "Are you asking me out on a date?" she asked playfully. "Yes," he answered calmly. She was shocked that he was so calm about her reverse play. Most boys would be a blushing heap. But she wouldn't give up. "What would your Sakura-chan say?" she asked. "She would insult us, compliment the Uchiha who would ignore her, then attack me," he answered as if stating the weather. Ino took a moment to think about all she knew about the blonde and tried to add it all up. Nothing made sense. "Alright, let's go." Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder and pulled her into a body flicker. When he arrived in front of Ichiraku's ramen, she let out a cry of shock and outrage. "How did you do that?" she asked. "And why bring me here? I'm on a diet." "That's bad," Naruto stated. "You shouldn't diet. How else am I going to keep my figure?" she asked, striking a pose. "Woo, work it girl," a lady with dango stated as she walked past. Ino quickly stopped when she realized that she was in public. "Ino-chan, we're shinobi," Naruto stated. Quote, "Diets aren't needed when we're pushing ourselves to the limit every day. Tell that to my team," she mumbled. "They only stuff themselves or lay about." After a bit of an inner debate, she decided to eat a bowl with the blonde. "Hey old man, I've got a new customer for you," Naruto called. Tsuki walked out to greet his number one customer only to pause. He took one look at Ino and frowned. "I thought we had a deal Naruto," he shouted. "Marry my daughter and you can get all the ramen you'd ever want." What? Was Naruto's only reply. I never agreed to that. What? An enraged Chuki shouted. Is my daughter not good enough? Who make a deal like that? Ino asked. Chuki didn't get to answer as he slumped over, holding his head in pain. Behind him was a Yame, holding a frying pan. A bad father, she whispered. So, what can I get you to? Naruto watched in amusement as Ino devoured her ramen. She had said that she would only try it, now she was enjoying it. She was eating her there. Helping when she realized he was staring. It never occurred to her that she may have thrown away her dignity in the manner that she was eating. Choji would have been proud. What, do I have something on my face? She asked as a light blush was forming. Yes, Naruto answered. Here, let me, what's this? An unruly voice asked. The two turned to see two unruly men walk in, both giving Naruto dirty looks. Since they weren't wearing headbands, they were obviously civilians. Looks like the demons trying to put the moves on her. The other answered. Hey, I won't have you harassing my customer. Chuki spoke seriously. All right, we just came for some food. One of the men spoke. That's not a problem, is it? No, sir. Chuki grumbled. He was still a businessman. The father and chair walked into the back to begin preparing the food. Once they were gone, the two newcomers turned their attention to the blondes. So sweet thing, this boy bothering you? One asked. The same one that called Naruto a demon. Ino looked at Naruto, only to see him calmly eating his ramen, as if there was no problem. She decided to follow his example and enjoy herself. She continued eating as if they weren't there. We're talking to you, the second spoke. Ino turned and gave the men a glare. My date, she emphasized. As keeping me happy, I am being bothered by two goons. The men shared a glance before turning towards the blondes. Goons are we, maybe we start acting like it then. He snapped. He prepared to smack Ino, only for Naruto to grab his hand and slam it onto the table. He proceeded to pierce the man's wrist with a kunai. Naruto ignored the shout of pain as he pierced all the way to the table. The second man stood and began drawing his sword. Don't move, Naruto ordered the second man. If I remove the kunai, he will lose a lot of blood, there's just so many veins in the wrist. Naruto stated without emotion as he twisted the weapon. If you get him to a hospital fast, he'll survive. Naruto reached into the man's pocket and pulled out his wallet. He tossed it to a shocked Yame. This should cover everything, she stated after counting. Naruto nodded and left, leaving the kunai in the man's wrist. It took Ino a moment to realize that he left before she ran after him. Naruto, she called, stopping him. What was that? He was going to hit you. Naruto answered. I stopped him. Yeah, but you did it like you knew his exact movements. Ino stated. Since when were you that good? She asked. What secrets are you hiding? Whatever kind of conversation they were going to have was cut short when the man with the sword ran out of the stand. He charged straight for the blondes, his sights set on Naruto. The blonde sidestepped the first swing and made some distance. What do you think you're doing? Ino asked in shock. What about your friend? The man didn't listen. Die demon. Naruto reached towards his back and pulled out the white blade. He caught the second blow with it and held the man in a power struggle. You broke the third Hokage's law. Naruto stated. Punishment. Death. The man was taken back by Naruto and was beginning to become scared. This wasn't the punching bag that the village had become so used to. Neither was it the fool that he acted. This Naruto was cold, along the lines of a shinobi. He attempted to push Naruto back by adding more force behind his blade. Naruto just countered it. It never occurred to the man that he might not be able to beat Naruto in a chakra battle. I will be your executioner. Naruto stated. He what? Shed as the blonde raised a single finger to his forehead. What, do you have loaded fingers or something? He was answered by a water bullet passing through his skull. Naruto noticed Ino gasp as he killed the man then and there. You demon, you killed him. A voice spoke. They turned to see that it was the man that Naruto stabbed in the wrist. He was holding said limb under his armpit, trying to stop the blood flow. Naruto turned his finger to him. The man paled when he saw the results it had on his friend. If it collided with him, he would be finished. You broke the third Hokage's law. Naruto repeated. Punishment. Dia, stop. Naruto's aim was thrown off by Ino pushing his hand away from his target. Luckily he hadn't fired. What are you doing, Naruto? How could you kill them? Naruto met her gaze and Ino jumped back in shock. They were no longer the sparkling and mischievous eyes that she had grown used to. They were empty, like a machine competing its function. He broke a law, punishable by death. He answered, his tone just as empty as his eyes. I'm doing my duty. He never broke eye contact with her as he aimed his finger at the fleeing man. He didn't need to. Activating his eyes, he could see the man trying to escape. He fired. How could you do that? Ino asked, feeling sick. It was my duty, he answered as he turned and left in a body flicker. Ino was outraged. He had just left her. In the middle of their date, he had left her. She barely remembered that he executed 2 men. His mind was on the fact that she had been stood up. Oh hell no, she would get her answers. She ran towards the only place that she knew about him being, minus Ichiraku Ramen, the training ground. There she greeted Team 7. Hey, I'm looking for Naruto. She asked in a huff. Where is he? Is there a problem? Kakashi asked. He left in the middle of our date. She declared angrily. Her declaration was greeted with boisterous laughter from Sakura. You went on a date with Naruto? She asked incredulously. Finally realize Sasuke-kun is out of your league, Ino pig. She was silenced when her sensei stepped forward. What happened? Ino turned her gaze away from the Junin, unable to answer. She loved to gossip, but this was something she just couldn't speak. It seemed Kakashi understood that since I smiled. Here, he handed her a piece of paper. This is his address. Thank you, sensei. She spoke before running off. That was weird, Sakura mumbled. She didn't ask Sasuke-kun for a single date. Ino looked at the paper over and over, trying to make sure she had the right place. This is where he lives. She couldn't believe it. The place Naruto lived was horrible. There was glass from the broken windows all around. Spray tags of calling him a demon and other slanderous names. Yet the other apartments were completely fine. Whatever, she mumbled. She walked inside, no even bothering to knock. As soon as she was inside, she noticed she was not alone. Han. D grabbed her by the ponytail in a strong grip. It pulled so hard that it dragged her entire body, slamming her into a wall. She saw a glisten that she recognized as a weapon. She closed her eyes, waiting for the inevitable. Ino. She opened her eyes to see a pair of familiar blues. Naruto. She screamed. I was almost killed by the dead last. What are you doing here? He asked, putting his weapon away. What am I doing here? She asked incredulously. You left me at our date. There were complications, Ino. He stated. You were there. I assumed it was over. You assumed. She screamed. I'm so mad. I could knock your head off. You can try. Naruto stated blankly. Ino was taken back by the sudden change in personality. As if her threat was taken literally, and he would react in kind. What happened to you? She asked nervously. This isn't like you. Like me. He asked in disbelief. What do you know about me? Ino pushed herself further back into the wall. She was actually afraid of him. What happened to the Naruto that always shouted about being Hokage? She asked in a small voice. I grew up, he answered. Something you've yet to do. Of course I grew up, she stated, offended by his claim. Just look at me. Naruto did. He gave her a quick once-over with his eyes. I am, he stated. I am not impressed. What? Naruto glared at his fellow blonde. This isn't a game we play, Ino. Naruto stated. We are shinobi of the leaf. I know that better than you. I come from a clan of shinobi while you. She covered her mouth, shocked by her own words. I didn't mean. Of course you did. Naruto stated emotionlessly. After all, the dead last is talking down to a Yamanaka. Ino was afraid, once again. I took you down in only a second, close to killing you. He stated. What do you think will happen to you on a real mission? He asked. Do you think you can let your team do all the work, or are you still a fangirl that thinks Sasuke-kun will rescue you? No, she lied. You're weak, Ino. He stated. You starve yourself to keep your so-called figure and hardly train from your own explanation. You think you're strong? She asked, gaining her courage. Where do you get strength? I train every day to make myself stronger for my village and family name. He continued. I've tasted the real shinobi world, it's bitter. As Naruto ended his tirade, Ino noticed that he had been crying. He didn't seem to be aware of it as the tears fell freely. He actually seemed pretty calm, yet they showed no sign of stopping. That mission with Iruka was real? She asked. Yes, Naruto answered, tears increasing. I was taking the shinobi world for a games, I lost Iruka as a consequence. I don't know you at all, Ino admitted. I'd like to. Her stomach silenced her with a loud grumble. Naruto actually smiled at this, which grew into a laughing fit. Ino could only sit there and blush at her body's betrayal. If you want to get to know me, I could tell you. Naruto offered. Over dinner, my treat. 2 dates in 1 day? Ino asked, gaining a smirk. You might end up breaking your wallet with my expensive tastes. I was planning on cooking. He stated. Anything you want. Naruto cooks. I really don't know anything about him. She realized. He seemed to read her mind. I had to learn to take care of myself, Ino. That means cooking my own meals. He stated. I believe I do a damn good job at it too, but a second opinion would be appreciated. Ino returned home, her mind heavy. Everything she thought she knew about her fellow blonde was wrong. That much she knew. That was all she knew. That, and he's a hell of a good cook. She felt ashamed of how she pigged out. He only smiled and offered her more, knowing she couldn't stop. There goes my diet. Inoichi Yamanaka looked at the contemplative look on his daughter's face. The only time he'd ever seen her that focused, usually involved a boy or cloths. Yet this was something else entirely. Everything okay? Inoichi asked. Ino jumped, never noticing him. If he had been an enemy. Daddy, do we have any jutsu for split personalities? She asked. And some training equipment. Sensei, can we please get a real mission? Sakura asked. These chores are pointless and demeaning. Sasuke stated. Kakashi looked at his team with a simple gaze. With me, the training I've been giving. Sasuke and the training Naruto has acquired, they can probably handle it. He reasoned. Sure, let's ask for AC rank. He spoke. Let's go. Hokage-sama, Team 7 would like a higher mission. Kakashi spoke. Well, do you think they're ready? The Hokage asked, receiving a nod. I do have one mission, send him in. In walked a man who smelt strongly of sake. What's this? I asked for ninja, not a bunch of brats. He spoke rudely. And what's with the blonde one? He looks like he forgot how to smile. I've had enough of this. Naruto thought. You should know this blonde one can kill you with a finger. Naruto stated as he aimed a finger at the drunk. What, do you have loaded fingers? He teased. He was silenced when his bottle shattered in his hand. He does. Everyone, minus Naruto stated. Well, that's nice to know. The drunk nervously stated. I am the super bridge builder Tazuna, your mission is to protect me. Meet up in front of the east gate at sunrise. Kakashi ordered. Don't be late. Hot calling the kettle black. The team thought. Good morning team. Kakashi greeted. The Junin had to duck to avoid a water bullet from Naruto. Who are you? Sakura demanded. I'm your sensei. He shouted. Liar. Kakashi sensei is never on time. Sakura screeched. I can be on time. Their sensei mumbled. Well team, wait. A new voice called. They all turned to see Ino running up to them, carrying a bag. Hello Ino-chan. Naruto greeted. Hello Naruto-kun. She added the suffix with a blush. What are you doing here piggy? Sakura asked. Quite forehead. Ino retaliated before turning to Naruto. I heard from sensei your team was taking AC rank, I'm a little jealous actually. She stated nervously. What's in the bag? Naruto asked. This seemed to make her a little more nervous. Well, since you cooked on our last date, I decided to. She began fidgeting with the bag. I made you a meal for your mission. Ha 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 ha. Sakura laughed. You went on a date with Naruto. Sakura asked in disbelief. I know you're desperate to get to Sasuke-kun, but that method won't work. Ino took a single glance at Sasuke and her rival. Was I like that? Quote, I know my cooking won't be as good as yours, but I hope you like it. Ino stated with a light smile and large blush. Naruto took the bag with a smile of his own. I'm sure I'll love it. Naruto stated, before gaining a mischievous smile. But can I get some sugar to go with it? INO blushed even harder at the message. This would be her first kiss with her fellow blonde, her first kiss period. She leaned in and gave her fellow blonde the kiss he asked for. It was a light peck, but it lasted a full minute. I could get used to that, Naruto stated. Strawberry lip gloss. Not to interrupt, but we have a mission. Kakashi spoke. Come on, idiot, unless you want to get left. Sakura stated. See you when I get back, Ino-chan. Ino watched as the team made their way off on their mission. She was DDER to see her fellow blonde go than she thought she would be. Hurry back, she thought. I hope he enjoys his gift. She wasn't talking about the food. Since when did you and Ino start dating? Kakashi asked. Not too long ago. A week actually, Naruto answered. And you already have her cooking your meals? Tazuna asked. I'm sure it'll make a great poison. Sakura added. It was made by a pig after all. Naruto was about to defend his girlfriend when he saw a puddle on the ground. That's not natural. It hadn't rained in weeks and has been relatively warm as of late. Using his eyes, he saw 2 chakra signatures inside. Before he could signal his sensei, the ninja struck. They wrapped Kakashi in a shuriken chain bond. In a single pull, they tore him to pieces. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura shouted. Naruto saw Sakura freeze up, while Sasuke charged in to engage the enemy. Foolish. Naruto threw a kunai in front of Sasuke, stopping him in his tracks while aiming another finger at one of the enemies. He fired, hitting him in the side of his knee. This caused his partner to lag because of the weight. Sasuke, pull back now. Naruto ordered. Don't order me dead last. Sasuke snapped. The wounded shinobi disengaged the bond and charged again, only to be close-lined by Kakashi. Sensei, you're alive. Sakura cheered. After his return, Kakashi quickly handled the last ninja. They were rogue shinobi from the Mist Village. What happened to you, sensei? Sakura asked. I wanted to know who these 2 were after. Kakashi answered. Also, I wanted to see how you 3 handled yourself in a real situation. I would have been fine if the dead last hadn't got in my way. Sasuke sneered. Our mission is to protect the client, not run to fight every ninja. Naruto countered. Ninja that we knew nothing about. It was a foolish and suicidal thing to do. You can't talk to Sasuke like, Sakura began. He's right, Kakashi stated. What? Sasuke screamed in outrage. You can't charge into the unknown. He explained. What if there had been more enemies hidden? NN. The Uchiha grunted. Now Tazuna, care to tell me 2 ninja are after you? Kakashi asked the nervous builder. Tazuna began giving a teary explanation about his village being destroyed by a wealthy man named Gato. He explained that his home's only hope was to complete the bridge. Tazuna, a mission like this is easily an A rank. Kakashi explained. I'm sorry, but we'll have to end it. Please, we need your help. He begged. Well, after a bit of a team debate and Tazuna adding a bit of guilt about his daughter and grandson, they decided to continue. Hey kid, sorry about before. Tazuna spoke. I didn't think much of you before, but now I see you've got a good head on your shoulders and skill to match. That's fine, Naruto stated. Just doing my duty. Sasuke had heard the brief conversation between them and scowled even harder. The Uchiha had been willing to tolerate the dead last since he stayed out of his way. He had even shown that he'd be semi-useful. But never would he tolerate the dead last showing him up. I am the Uchiha. I am the elite, he thought. It isn't right that he shows such skill. Skills that I should have. He turned to the blonde, who met his gaze, and flinched. It was as if Naruto could tell what he was thinking, and didn't care. I'll show you, he mentally growled. He too, a few steps ahead of the team and scanned the area. You're out of formation, Naruto called. Sasuke ignored him. There, he threw a kunai towards a bush. This put everyone on edge. Naruto took one glance at the bush before sighing. He made his way towards it and pulled out a rabbit. You nearly gave me a heart attack for nothing, Tazuna stated. Get down. They did, just as a large blade passed over them. It collided with a tree. On it was the enemy. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist. Kakashi spoke. This'll be tough, I'll have to use it. He raised his headband to reveal a single Sharingan eye. Copycat Kakashi. What an honor. Zabuza spoke. Hand over the bridge builder and I'll let you all live. Not happening, Naruto said as he aimed a finger at the Mist Nin. What, do you have loaded fingers or something? He asked. He was answered by a water bullet being fired at him, only for it to miss his head by 2 inches. Bad aim, Sasuke mocked. No, Kakashi answered. He dodged it, barely. If I hadn't seen that jutsu before, it would have killed me. Zabuza stated. Where does a kid learn a mist jutsu? Why would I share knowledge with the enemy? Naruto asked back. Fair enough. Zabuza had pulled himself back into the mist and began flooding the area with his killing intent. Careful everyone, Zabuza is a master of the silent killing, Kakashi warned. Naruto had activated his eyes to see better. Kakashi was a few yards away from them, scanning for Zabuza. Sasuke and Sakura looked as if their heart were going to pop. Thought, Sakura seemed to think the Uchiha would keep her safe. Said Uchiha was close to taking his own life. Wait, there was someone else. In the trees was another chakra signature. Was it friend or foe? It's over. A voice spoke from behind. Naruto turned and impaled Zabuza with his WC blade. Instead of blood, out came water. Naruto watched as the Mist Nin dissolved into a puddle of water. A clone, he realized. I was careless to let him get so close. It seems the kid has some skill. Can the same be said about his sensei? Another Zabuza asked. Let's find out. Kakashi spoke. Naruto watched as the fight progressed. His sensei ND Zabuza seemed to be on the same skill level, only for his sensei to make a mistake. He dived into the lake. This allowed Zabuza the chance to imprison him in a sphere of water. Get out of here, Kakashi screamed. Take Tazuna and leave. Sensei, I am just disappointed. Naruto spoke. I'll let it slide that you just wanted us to abandon you, even after your teachings, the mission and all. The blonde continued. I'm just disappointed that you decided to challenge a water shinobi in the water. Getting scolded by your student, huh? Zabuza spoke with a chuckle. You deserve it. Kakashi had the decency to look down in shame. Besides, what makes you think Zabuza will just let us go? The Mist Nin's chuckle confirmed their suspicion. Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto spoke as he made his way to the water. Protect Tazuna. Naruto didn't wait for his team to respond, he charged forward. Seems he wants to play. Zabuza spoke as he summoned a few clones. They quickly surrounded Naruto and each drew their oversized blade. Wind style. Vacuum wave. Naruto took a deep breath and began spinning in a circle. He released the air in a compressed blade of chakra that knocked the clones away and cut through them as he turned. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto formed 4 clones by his side. They charged the demon of the mist in a diamond formation. Zabuza swung at the first Naruto, severing him in half. The second Naruto ran behind the swing and held the weapon, keeping Zabuza from swinging again. He then delivered a kick to the Mist Nin's upper rib, just under the armpit. This forced him to slack up on the grip, but not enough for the clone to snatch it and run. With his weapon arm restrained, Zabuza kicked the next clone, turning him into smoke. The next one was already on Zabuza, restraining his leg, forcing him into an uncomfortable position. This left him right open for the last Naruto to get in close. Wind style. Blade of wind. Naruto emitted wind chakra from the tip of his fingers, giving him pinpoint cutting accuracy. He delivered a cut to the demon on the mist's exposed torso. Zabuza jumped back, releasing Kakashi, just in time to avoid a fatal wound. He did not escape being wounded. There was a diagonal cut going across his midsection with a thin trail of blood leaking. He grabbed the closest Naruto around the neck and raised him, while the blonde fought to be released. With a quick jerk, he turned this Naruto into smoke. Come one kid, he growled. Actually Zabuza, your fight is with me. Kakashi spoke. Afraid your genin's luck might have ran out. Zabuza asked. That wasn't luck, that was skill. Kakashi stated. He forced you to release me. He pointed to the Mist Nin's midsection. That's proof enough. Shut up. Zabuza shouted as he charged. The last clone charged as well. While the real Naruto backed away to land, Zabuza's eyes caught sight of the clone's face long enough to see him mutter one word. Boom. Thanks to years as a shinobi, Zabuza had H reflex to bring his large sword in front of him as a makeshift shield. Just as the Naruto clone went up in smoke. What? It wasn't the exploding clone jutsu. It was a distraction. He turned to see Kashi finish weaving a series of hand signs. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu. The jutsu followed its namesake. Zabuza could do nothing as the water dragged him away like a rag doll. Only when he collided with a tree did he stop. But the jutsu continued against him. When it was finally over, Zabuza was too battered and exhausted to continue. He looked up to see Kakashi in the tree above him. "It's over," Kakashi stated. He prepared to deliver the final strike when he saw Zabuza stiffen and collapse. In his neck were 2 Senbon needles. "I'd like to thank you for your assistance." A new voice spoke. They turned to see a masked nin. "A hunter nin. You're a mist hunter nin," Kakashi stated. "I assume you're here for Zabuza." "I am." "Why didn't you help in the fight?" Sasuke asked. "Are the hunter nin from mist too weak to handle their own trash?" "I could ask the same of you." The hunter nin countered. Wind style. Vacuum wave. The hunter nin was able to dodge the attack with relative ease. And made off with Zabuza in a body flicker. "What was that idiot?" Sakura screeched. "Why did you attack that ninja? Are you trying to start a war?" "The hunter was a fake," Naruto stated. "How wool. Du." She was silenced by Kakashi placing a firm grip on her shoulder. "Naruto, explain," Kakashi ordered. He took a look at his team before sighing. "My bloodline told me that the hunter was actually friendly towards Zabuza," he stated. "That means they must be friends, or acquaintances." "Bloodline," Sasuke spoke. "I refuse to divulge any valuable information," Naruto stated. "Must not be anything special," Sasuke taunted. "Well, it isn't monkey see monkey do," Naruto countered. "Sensei, your chakra." "I know," Kakashi stated. "Naruto, you're in command until." Their sensei said nothing more as he lost consciousness. He would have hit the ground if Naruto hadn't caught him. "Sensei, he's fine," Naruto stated as he laid the Jonin down. "He just has a case of chakra exhaustion." He spoke as he lowered Kakashi's headband. "Where is your house?" "Close," the bridge builder answered. "Sasuke and Sakura." Naruto spoke. "You two carry sensei." "What? Why?" Sakura asked. "Because if we run into trouble, I'm the only one combat ready," Naruto answered. "Who put you in charge?" Sasuke asked with a sneer. "Your sensei did," Tazuna answered. "Sasuke, if you keep acting out of line then I will consider you a threat to the mission," Naruto stated. "What are you going to do?" Sasuke taunted. "Write me up for insubordination." "No, I'll execute you," he answered as he raised a finger. Yuto answered with an uncaring tone that was too familiar. It made the Uchiha's blood boil as he thought of his brother. "He's just like him," he seethed. "Lead the way, Tazuna," Naruto spoke. They had arrived at Tazuna's home where they met his daughter and grandson. After placing their sensei away, Naruto wrote a letter asking the village for assistance. Though, there was a hidden message in there as well. Naruto and his so-called team had managed to get to Tazuna's home without any extra difficulty. After a little rest, their sensei would be able to speak to them, though he would still be bedridden. "Are you sure you and your team will be able to continue the mission?" Tazuna asked, feeling guilty of Kakashi's condition. "I won't blame you if you decide to leave." Naruto smiled at the man. "We decided to take this mission." "Yeah, well, I only feel lousier about lying," the man mumbled. "Dead last," Sasuke called. Naruto ignored him. "So tell me about Wave." "I'm talking to you," Sasuke snapped. We were a small village that." Tazuna didn't get to finish talking to Naruto as Sasuke lunged for the blonde. Naruto quickly spun around and grabbed the Uchiha's hand, pulling it behind his back in a painful hold. He then forced the Uchiha's head onto the table and placed his fingers on his temple. "That was assault of your leader," Naruto stated as he added pressure. "I could and should execute you." He sighed as he pulled back. "But that would compromise the mission. Now what do you want?" "How?" Sasuke asked. "How were you, the dead last, able to fight Zabuza when sensei couldn't?" "He took me lightly because I'm a child genin," Naruto stated. "Because of that, along with my bloodline and training, I was able to take him by surprise. Had he been intent to simply kill me instead of playing around, we'd all be dead." Excuse me, Tsunami," Tazuna's daughter, spoke up. "Your sensei is asking for you." "Team, I have some bad news. Kakashi spoke. Zabuza is still alive, Naruto stated. And we are underprepared. Naruto finished. I also received a letter from the village. Kakashi went over the letter once before sighing. He handed it back to the blonde. They would be sending no backup. So we need to train. Kakashi stated. But sensei, how can you train us if you can't walk? Sakura asked. I won't need to. Kakashi stated. Now help me up and outside. Kakashi had led them to the back where trees were surrounding the area. Okay, team. Kakashi spoke. I will be teaching you to climb trees, without hands. What? Naruto spoke. Something wrong dead last? Sasuke asked. Can't handle a little ninja training. Naruto ignored Sasuke in favor of glaring at his sensei. In all this time, you haven't taught them the tree climbing technique. He asked in disappointment. What have you been doing? You say something. Kakashi asked, looking from his book. Naruto, since you know this, you will be guarding Tazuna. With a nod, he was off. Wait, he needs to train more than us. Sakura shouted. He was the dead last. Did you fight a renowned Jonin and help force him to retreat? Kakashi asked, highly annoyed. No, then do as you're told. I could beat the dead last with a hand tied behind my back. Sasuke declared. So could I. Sakura added, hoping to impress Sasuke. Enough of this. Naruto spoke. Train or die when we face the enemy. He turned to finish his own training. Once he was far enough away, he opened the letter. Team 7. Though your mission is unauthorized, I will allow you to continue. Though we are unable to send any capable shinobi for this, you will have to continue on your own. Your mission is still the same, protect the client. If matters become too much to handle, return to the village. Third Hokage. Naruto went over the letter twice. Unimpressed. This wasn't a letter from the Hokage, it was a letter from Danzo. The Hokage's part was just a forgery in case one of his team had gotten a hold of it. Now for the real message. The one directed to him. He added chakra to the paper. Zabuza is a threat, though he has potential. Confront him. If he cannot be persuaded to join the village, then he must be dealt with. Gato is the real threat. Kill him and the village will be free. This is what Naruto had expected. It was a hidden message from Danzo, concealed in case a member of Team 7 had seen it. Yuto had returned to see an exhausted-looking Sasuke and Sakura. The old him would have laughed at them, but he's changed since then. How did it go? He asked their sensei. I nearly made it to the top on the first try. Sakura boasted. Only because you have such little chakra. Naruto stated. They are making progress. Kakashi stated, ending the conversation. Why are you trying so hard? Inari, Tazuna's grandson asked. You're just going to die. Have a little faith. Naruto spoke. You think you can just come in here and be a hero? He snapped. Fine. Naruto stated coldly. We'll leave. What? Tsunami gasped in despair. You can't. Of course we can. We're technically helping out of charity. Naruto stated. Though there is one problem. What? The matter of our finance. Naruto stated. How much would Gato pay for your head Tazuna? He asked, scaring the family. Naruto. Kakashi spoke. Then again, Tsunami is very beautiful. Naruto continued. How much could I sell her for? The entire family, as well as Team 7, were shocked by Naruto's words. Why you can't mean that? Tazuna paled. You're forgetting we're ninja, we kill for money. Naruto stated. If Sakura ever gets a figure, she'll have to seduce and possibly sleep with people for the sake of the mission. What? The news shocked her. I could kill them both with just a finger. To prove his point, he aimed his fingers at them. What are you going to do about it? He asked. Inari watched as his grandfather closed his eyes, as if accepting his fate. His mother just teared up. Stop. The shout came from Inari. He had grabbed a fork and lunged for Naruto. The blonde grabbed the child by his neck and dropped him to the ground. So you do have some fight in you. Naruto stated. Good, use that and try helping the situation instead of crying. With that, Naruto left. Must keep calm, he thought. He was disappointed in himself. The client's grandson, a child, had managed to get under his skin. He was a shinobi, he needed to control himself. That was why he came out, to blow off some steam. He ended up tearing up a good amount of the area with his training. I didn't even get to finish my meal. He moaned. He stopped and slapped himself on the head. How could he forget that INO had prepared a meal for him? She'd give him hell if she found out. He unsealed it and let the smell relax him. It was a large bowl of ramen. Still as fresh as the moment he sealed it. He sat there and decided to enjoy his meal. Naruto was awakened by a familiar presence getting close. He didn't give away the slightest hint that he was awake. He kept his breathing steady, while keeping his body relaxed. He could feel the person, thanks to his bloodline, as well as see with his eyes closed. It was a woman, just a little older than him. Though it was the chakra that threw him off. It was different from the others. It was strong, but different. He'd remembered reading about this, but couldn't place it. And there was the inner debate she seemed to be having. On whether or not to kill him. She was getting closer. Just a little closer, he thought. "Excuse me," she called. "You'll catch a cold if you sleep out here." Naruto opened his eyes and examined the one who woke him. What's she playing at? He didn't know, but he'd play along. "No need to worry about that," he stated. "What are you doing out here, miss?" She held up a basket as she answered. "I'm collecting herbs for a sick friend." She began looking at the destroyed area. "Though I may need to check elsewhere." Naruto sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. "Guess I got a little carried away. I apologize for that. I was being excessive," he stated. "I'll find more for you." He turned away and activated his bloodline, not letting her get a good look at him. He wanted to keep his eyes a secret from as many people as he possibly could. Even though he had his back to her, he never took his attention from her. Thanks to the true 360-degree vision, he could see her perfectly. "There are some just a little distance from here," he thought. "I'll show you." Just as he had said, there was more of the herbs near the water. "Your help is greatly appreciated," she stated. "She's sincere," he thought as she began picking herbs that he had laid next to. He began helping her. No reason to be rude. "Are you a ninja?" she asked kindly. "Yes," he answered. "Are you strong?" "I'd like to think so." "Do you have any precious people?" "A few, but they mean the world to me," he answered with a warm smile. She returned the smile. "Then you will be strong." They both stood as she began leaving, but stopped. "You never gave your name," Naruto stated. "You seem to be pretty comfortable heading off with a stranger, even after learning I was a ninja." He reached for his kunai. "You're Zabuza's accomplice." Naruto was prepared for her chakra to flare. He wasn't prepared for the water behind him to lung at him. It froze on contact, freezing his kunai pouch, as well as his tanto. A bloodline. Now he understood her strange chakra. He realized he had taken his eyes off of the enemy. When he turned back, she was gone. He activated his blood line and saw that she wasn't in the immediate area. Extending his range, he saw her fleeing at a fast speed. "She's still in range." He raised a finger. He could get in a fatal shot, or at least give her a critical wound. Why did she let me go? She had 3 different moments where she could have attacked, yet didn't. He let her go. "My training isn't done," he thought bitterly. "I'm still too emotional." Naruto had went back to the house. He had a mission he needed to prepare for. The execution of Gato, and if unable to persuade, Zabuza as well as his accomplice. Naruto had his orders. Kill Gato. Ally with Zabuza and accomplice. If not, execute. He had his orders. He began immediately. Chizuna and Naruto were walking through the village of Wave. They had made a lot of progress on the bridge, thanks to Naruto's clones. They were able to not only replace the workers who quit, but add more as well. Thanks to Naruto's stamina, his clones were able to work without break. Chizuna estimated the bridge would be done in a few days. Naruto was there to protect the worker, but also for a second reason. While Naruto did that job, he had a clone do a second. He had it scout and gain information. Clone Naruto had made his way to a slummier part of the dying village. It was worse than any part of the village that Naruto had previously seen. Which had still been worse than the slums back in his home village. There were people so malnutritioned that the rags they wore just hung off of them. Half the people that were lying in the streets were more than likely not drunk. He was sure they weren't anything at this point. "Excuse me, sir." He felt a tug on his jacket. Naruto turned to see a small child. What can I do for you? Naruto asked. Do you have any food? The child asked. Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out a standard ration bar. It wasn't that appetizing, but it got the job done. A full-course meal at your disposal. Eat this. Naruto spoke. The kid did so. He ate as if the bar was going to leave him if he didn't get it down fast enough. It was probably the first decent thing he's eaten in too long. When it was gone, he gained a sad look, before shock crossed his face. I'm not hungry anymore, he stated in wonder. Do you have more for my family? Naruto reached into his pouch to pull out a few more, but was stopped. The villagers had taken notice of his actions. Hey, he has food. Someone shouted. Please share, we're starving. Another spoke. One of the more desperate people had tried to steal it from Naruto. He had grabbed Blonde's hand, only for Naruto to push him away. Please sir, I have starving children. A lady shouted. Forget the children, I'm hungry. Another spoke. Soon the people became aggressive, not to Naruto, but to each other. They were attacking each other, just to get closer to Naruto. As if he would only choose them for food. Only the little child who had eaten wasn't fighting. He was too busy cowering behind Naruto. Enough of this, Naruto growled. He flared his chakra, enough for the civilians to feel, and they did. It was enough to stop their hunger-induced brawl. Now they were staring at Naruto with a mix of fear and awe. What was that? One of the braver asked. Look at you all, fighting over food like vermin. Naruto spoke, voice colder than ice. No wonder Gato was able to take over, there's no order. They began looking away in shame. He grabbed the last few ration bars he had. The villagers were looking at them as if they were more valuable than gold. I'll give these to whoever can give me information on finding Gato. Naruto offered. Silence. Even with their hunger, the villagers were too terrified of Gato. Fine, he thought. No reason to force them, or let them suffer. Naruto threw them into the air. I hope this works, he thought. He weaved a few hand signs and sent the chakra towards the food. It was basically a variation of the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, though it was with food. He as pleasantly surprised when the food duplicated. Soon it began raining down onto the villagers who began entering a frenzy, each trying to get the most. One of the villagers, the mother, saw Naruto's disappointed gaze. A villager saw her stop in the frenzy, more began joining in the hesitation. Shame filled them all. One of the men began. I know where some of Gato's men are. The man had personally led Naruto to a small tavern in a better part of the village. There he found some of Gato's men in a bar, over a dozen of them, making a scene. They weren't doing much but their actions told everything. They sat lazily in their chairs with their weapons out. The villagers that were there gave them a wide berth with obvious fear in them. Hey, get over here. One of the men ordered. We want more drinks. A waitress reluctantly made her way to the table. What can I get you gentlemen? She asked. Your best drink and some food. The apparent leader spoke. And put it on our tab. Another added. This earned a cruel laugh from the goons. None of the villagers joined. I'm sorry to tell you this. The woman spoke, fear evident. But your tab is overdue. One of the goons stood up menacingly as he spoke. Is it now? That was when Naruto had decided to enter, before things could get worse. He had walked straight towards the table beside the goons, never sparing them a glance. May I have a glass of water? He asked the waitress. She seemed happy to oblige, wanting to get away from the goon. You come into a bar and ask for water? One of the goons asked in disbelief. Naruto ignored the goon. When the lady returned, he handed her a few hundred Ryu bills. 1 Ryu equals $1. Keep the change. Naruto smiled. Now Naruto had the goon's attention. A few made their way over to his table. Looks like we have ourselves a big spender. The leader spoke. No, that's just to cover the damages. What damages? The waitress asked nervously. A broken glass, a ruined table and some holes in the wall. He answered. Lady, don't move. She froze at his cold tone. The rest of you will pay off the remainder of your tab, today. Oh, where are we? The leader asked. And where exactly are these damages? Naruto noticed 2 of the goons make their way behind him. He grabbed his glass of water and broke the edge on the table. He grabbed a shard with his free hand and sent it to the leader's throat. With a counterclockwise spin, he jammed the glass into the first man's side, hitting a vital point. He continued spinning and grabbed the man to his right and slammed his head into the table, smashing it through. Remember, Naruto spoke to the waitress. Don't move. He raised both his hands and began firing water bullets at each goon. Their bodies made a dark drum beat as they hit the ground with a certain rhythm. 15 in total. He had never taken his eyes off of the leader. Naruto sat back down to the table. That glass is embedded deep in your neck, Naruto stated. It's just barely away from any vital points, but it's also the only thing keeping you from bleeding to death, he assured. Speak. You can. What do you want? The man asked as he choked on his blood. Where is Gato? Naruto demanded. I won't tell, he stated. That wasn't a lucky shot, I missed on purpose, Naruto stated. There are many other spots I can aim for that won't kill you, painful spots. He looked around at the dead bodies. You've seen what I can do, want more? The man paled as he shook his head. Gato, west, he wheezed. Few miles out of town. Naruto stood up to leave. There was no reason to finish off the last guy. Shard was too far in to get out, he'll still bleed out. But being a ninja was about being thorough. He sent a water bullet through his head. Ma'am, Naruto called back. You can move now. Naruto had returned to Tezuna's home. His clone had just dispelled and gave him all of the needed information. Good, he thought. Now I just need to wait until sunset. In the cover of darkness, that's where a shinobi truly shines. Tezuna-san, Naruto spoke. By tomorrow, all of your troubles will be over with. Haku, Zabuza spoke. He had been bedridden ever since his confrontation with Team 7. I know, she spoke. He was making his way towards his target, inside of a hut outside the village. It wasn't Gato, it was them. Naruto would have hidden behind a tree, but he knew that he had been found out. He had moved in the cover of darkness. He was silent, very silent, and nearly impossible to detect. But these were masters of the silent killing technique. You don't sneak up on them. He made his way to the open where he met the masked ninja, the false hunter Nin. I'm here to speak to you and Zabuza. Naruto spoke. I came with an offer. We refuse. She spoke. Leave. We're shinobi. We both know it's not that easy. Naruto spoke. He gave no warning as he fired several water bullets towards her. She only raised a hand and they stopped in place and fell to the ground as ice balls. She returned fire with a barrage of Senbon needles that he dodged, aimed at his non-vital points. The best they would do is paralyze him in place. She's not trying to kill me. He though, only mildly surprised. Puts us on even ground. For some reason, he still didn't want to kill her. He decided to backpedal at full speed, taking her deeper into the forest. She took the bait and followed. Good, he thought. He lead her to the woods, further from the hut. As soon as they got to the trees, several clones jumped out and fell upon her. She wasted no time in dispatching them each with a swift blow. Clones won't work on me, neither will water, she stated. What will you do now? Naruto began weaving hand seals. Water style. Black rain jutsu. From the little moisture in the air, Naruto was able to form a light cloud above them. Oil, she questioned before freezing. Naruto drew an explosive tag-attached kunai, which immediately fell from his hands. In several important nerves were Senbon needles. I take it from the tag that you don't know any fire jutsu, she stated. Even if you did, they're useless now. Whatever reply she intended was cut short when he went up in smoke. A clone, she stated in surprise. Why would his clone lead me, Zabuza-sama? She ran back to the hut with all the speed she could muster. When Haku returned to the hut, the door opened, causing her to freeze in place. Out walked Naruto. Haku felt every ounce of her being jumped with panic. Her master Zabuza had been in there, and he was still bedridden. Yet here was the enemy, walking away unharmed. She ran past Naruto, not sparing the blonde a second glance as he walked away. Not even noticing the fact he had her master's weapon strapped to his back. Haku had expected the worst inside of the hut, but she was not prepared for the sight before her. It was Zabuza, unharmed. Zabuza-sama, she whispered. What happened? Only Hen did she realize the look of hate on his face. Flashback begin. Zabuza had watched as Haku made her way out to meet the enemy. He was confident in her skill. He trained her, as well as her bloodline. She was an excellent tool. He listened to the clash before they began making their way further into the distance. That was when he heard a single pair of footsteps approach. Back already. He was impressed. Whoever had appeared had skills to get so close before being noticed. When the hut opened, the pride fell. It was Naruto. The mere sight of the blonde caused the wound on Zabuza's torso, a scar, to throb in agony. It would be a shame for him to bear, the demon of the mist, scared by a child. Brat, he growled. Where's Haku? Dealing with some clones. Naruto answered as he walked inside. I came here to talk. Talk, Zabuza thought. What is he playing at? I'm listening. He had to play this out until Haku returned. I came to offer you the chance to give up being a rogue. Naruto spoke, all business. We request that you join Konoha. Are you serious? The rogue asked. Yes, Naruto answered. By sunrise this ordeal will be over. He explained. Your source of money, who probably would have betrayed you, will be dead. Why? Being offered sanctuary was not what he expected. You are a renowned shinobi with creditable skill. Naruto answered, stroking the rogue's ego. In Konoha, we can offer you a chance to finally stop running from Hunter Nin's hold you accept. And your accomplice, Naruto added. Because of her bloodline, she would be hailed. He paused as he chose his next words. You don't have to worry, she will not become a breeding stock. Naruto gave the man a moment to mull it over. He made his way over to Zabuza's weapon. The Kubikiribocho, the decapitating carving knife. It was a renowned weapon, just as the other 7 blades were. Naruto marveled at it. The edge was sharp enough to cut through the human body with the added force the weight provided. Not many would be able to properly wield such a weapon. He doubted he could, at least to its fullest capabilities. And if I refuse? Zabuza asked. In a flash, Naruto had the great sword hanging over Zabuza's head like a guillotine. His eyes cold and his voice matching as he answered. It would be in your best interest if you don't. He stated before activating his eyes to study him. Your body should be fully recovered in 2 days, we expect your answer by then. Naruto removed the sword and strapped it to his back. I'm taking this as insurance, you know where to find us with you answer. With that said, he left. Flashback end. That was why Zabuza was angry, he had been at someone's mercy. He was the demon of the bloody mist. He had been at the mercy of a mere child. A child that offered him sanctuary. In 2 days, he would have his answer. Naruto made his way towards the location he had been given by the villager. In the distance, he could see a large manor. Around in were several armed thugs. Acting as guards, he activated his bloodline. He could see that they were a total of 30 of them surround the mansion completely. He could easily sneak in and do his job. None of the guards were shinobi or posed any real threat to him. They were even being lazy about their duty. But his bloodline showed him more. It allowed him to see the inner person. He didn't like what he saw. I still need to train on my emotions. He was still letting his emotions interfere. He began weaving seals, shadow clone jutsu. He created an even amount to match the guards. With the skill, each of them found an unsuspecting target. A quick kunai to their throats and they were dead. Naruto made his way inside. There were no other guards, -1. A large and imposing man that stood in front of Gato's door. He went down with a single water bullet to the head. What was that? Gato asked after hearing the body fall. Answer me. Naruto opened the door. A proper shinobi wouldn't have made himself known. But the entire mission had been improper. Plus, there was one more thing he needed to take care of. Hello Gato. Naruto greeted. Who the hell are you? He demanded. Where are my guards? Naruto removed the weapon he had retrieved from Zabuza and showed it to the man. Now that he had saw the weapon, he had paled. Your men are dead, Naruto answered. What do you want? Gato asked. I can kill you just as easily as I killed all of your men. Naruto stated. But first, I need something from you. What? Money. Every bit that you have. Naruto activated his bloodline, causing his eyes to turn red. I will know if you're lying or holding out on me. Gato nodded and made his way to the safe behind a picture of himself. Inside the safe was an enormous amount of cash and other valuables, such as gems and gold trinkets. That's everything, he swore. Naruto pulled out a sealing scroll and placed the money inside. When he was done, he left the tyrant on his own. Gato fell into his chair and took a sigh of relief. He watched as the rain began falling though his window. Still alive, he thought triumphantly. He was upset about the money, but not enough to match his joy of life. The money he could replace, though not here. He would finish bleeding the place dry before heading somewhere to start anew. Why do I smell smoke? The rain had stopped, now there was a bright glow from outside. Naruto watched as the mansion burned to the ground with Gato inside. Mission accomplished. Now all that was left was Zabuza. Silently, Naruto made his way inside of Tizuna's home, only for the light to come on. Have a nice night. Naruto froze at the scene before him. There stood Kakashi-sensei, reading his book as if he had no care in the world. Next to him was Tsunami, with an impatient look on her face. Do you have any idea what time it is, young man? She asked. No, Naruto answered. No what? No ma'am, he hastily answered. Kakashi laughed at the scene before him. His student was being talked down to by his client's daughter. Naruto could kill her with ease, yet the tone she was throwing at him put him off. It was anger covering genuine worry. You've never experienced a mother's scolding, he thought sadly. And you? She turned on the Jonin. What, me? What kind of example are you setting for him? She asked. Reading smut all the time, and in front of minors. Oh, I have a good reason for being out, Naruto stated. I'll happily tell you, as soon as you untie me. They had tied him to the kitchen chair. His team had been awakened for the meeting, while Inari was left asleep. Tell us first, then we'll untie you, Kakashi stated as he continued reading. Okay. Someone reach into my pants. He was silenced when a kunai passed him, cutting his binds. What the hell? I'm not reaching into your pants. Pocket. Naruto finished. Reach into my pants pocket. He did so himself and pulled out 3 scrolls. Oh, Kakashi I smiled. Sorry. Anyway, I've taken care of Gato, Naruto stated seriously. You mean? Tsunami began tearing up as Naruto nodded. We're free. So does this mean we can go home? Sakura asked. No, Kakashi and Naruto answered. Why not? She whined. Gato's dead. We were hired to protect Tizuna until the bridge was complete, Kakashi explained. What Naruto did was aid in the mission's success, but it's not over. What's in the scrolls dead last? Sasuke asked, only to be ignored. Naruto. Kakashi spoke, hoping to diffuse the growing conflict. He motioned to the first one. In this scroll is Gato's INO. Wave's entire finance, Naruto stated, moving to the second. He kept quite about the 10% he was keeping. In this one is our payment for the mission, as well as a small bonus for us. Why are they getting that money? Sakura screeched. It should go to us. Naruto ignored her. With this, you can fix some of the damage done by Gato, he stated, pushing the scroll to them. No one will trade with a poor village, so use it wisely. Thank you, Tizuna whispered. He looked at the last. In this one is Zabuza's sword. What? The entire group shouted. Naruto, I think you should start from the beginning, Kakashi ordered. Naruto told them the entire story. How he sent a clone to gather information, the goons he slaughtered, his scuffle with Haku and his talk with Zabuza, the offer, all the way to his ending Gato's reign. Well, you've had an interesting time. Tsunami spoke. You can't seriously be thinking of offering the Mist Ninja a place in Konoha, Sakura screeched. He is a capable shinobi, Naruto stated. He could be a great asset. Give me the sword, Sasuke ordered. No, Naruto stated, simple and direct. Sasuke lunged for it. I said give me th. He was frozen from the pressure of Naruto's finger to his temple. Sasuke-kun, Sakura screeched. You let him go now or all. She was silenced when he turned his eyes towards her. Stand down, Kakashi ordered. Naruto, what are you going to do with the weapon? I'm taking it back to Konoha, Naruto stated before explaining. If a suitable wielder can't be found, it will sold to the Hidden Mist village. And if Momochi does come with us, I will return it to him, Naruto answered. If we're lucky, he will train someone to use it. Just give it to Sasuke-kun. Sakura ordered. If he can't use it, no one can. No. Is there anything else? Kakashi asked. No. Then in 2 days we leave. It had been a long 2 days, but today was the day. His team had managed to complete their training and their sensei made a full recovery. Today the bridge would be complete and they would have their answer. That was why they were waiting on the bridge. Do you think he'll accept? Sakura asked out loud. No one answered. He's here, Naruto stated. Just as he said those words, a fog began covering the bridge. With a flare of wind chakra, Naruto blew the mist away, revealing Zabuza and his accomplice. Your answer? Kakashi asked. The demon of the mist looked over the group in front of him before giving his answer. No. What? Why? Sakura asked loudly. You should be happy. Konoha is offering you a chance to work for the best village. It's pride, Naruto stated. With nothing more to say, they missed Nin lunged. Kakashi and Naruto went to meet the enemy, just as planned. Zabuza pulled back into his mist, just as expected. Kakashi went to face him. Haku didn't follow. She made her own way in the mist. She would be Naruto's opponent. Just as planned, Naruto thought. The mist duo still knew nothing of Naruto's bloodline, while he had done nothing but gather intel on them. Now in the mist, Naruto could use his bloodline to its fullest. Where is he? Haku thought. She was trained in the art of silent killing, but she was no master of it, not like Zabuza. Her opponent seemed to be a master of stealth, as if he had been hiding from danger his whole life. Naruto was staying completely still, watching her scan the mist. Now, he thought, in the mist, Haku could barely make out a presence. It wasn't that far from her, but she could barely see who it was. It's him, she thought sure. She threw a handful of Senbon, not bothering to aim. They met their mark, only for the apparition to fade. It was one of the abilities Naruto had possessed, the irresistible genjutsu his father mentioned. He was able to make these genjutsu constructs that people thought were real. As long as they were untouched and not looked upon directly, they could pass as regular people. I missed, she thought confused. I know I got him. Her danger sensor, honed from experience, went off. There was someone behind her, the enemy. She turned and delivered what would have been a strong kick, had the apparition not faded on contact. The excess weight threw her off balance. This gave Naruto an opportune moment. He would have to act now. He may never get another chance like this. He lunged at her while she was still off balance from her attack. Her danger sensors went off again as she tried to straighten herself. She tried to throw a sloppy punch behind herself, only for it to hit another apparition. She felt a tap on her back. It lasted half a second before she kicked him away. Got him. This time she had him. They made a bit of distance between each other before they took notice of their surroundings. The mist was fading. Zabuza-sama, Haku cried out. Naruto followed her gaze to see their partners match. It seemed that their fight was also coming to an end. Kaka. She had Zabuza trapped inside the jaws of his familiar, restraining his movement. In his hand was concentrated lighting chakra, visible from the sheer power. Haku ran towards her master, only to freeze. Her body was no longer hers to command. What is this? She thought frantically as she tried to struggle. It's a paralysis seal, Naruto stated. Right now you can't move or even speak. Naruto turned to the fight. Zabuza Momochi, Naruto called, gaining both Jonin's attention. This fight is over, your partner is finished, give up. He stated, come with us to Konoha, our final offer. You brat, Zabuza growled, I won't surrender because my tool is broken. Tool? Naruto asked before sighing. Zabuza, you are a proud shinobi. He stated, pride has no use on the battlefield of shinobi, it only leads to death. He nodded to his sensei, signaling the end. Naruto had the decency to cover Haku's sight. She didn't need to see those final moments. Team 7 and Haku were making their trek to the Hidden Leaf Village. It was trying to say the least. I still say we should kill her. Sasuke repeats. No, Kakashi and Naruto stated, again. Why not? Sakura asked. She's the enemy. Zabuza was the enemy. Kakashi stated. Shish Haku isn't even a registered shinobi, just someone caught in it all. Why are we bringing her with us? Sakura asked again. She will be a great asset to the village. Naruto stated. Then we should bind her. Sasuke states. No. Naruto states. She is neither our prisoner nor our slave, she's coming with us of her own free will. He explains. She won't go anywhere and she won't try anything with Kakashi around. How do you know? Sasuke asks with a sneer. Because. Naruto smiles at his team. She wants to kill me. Team 7 had finally returned to Konoha. I can't wait to get home. Sakura spoke. I'm going to cash my payment and have a big fancy dinner. She turned to the Uchiha. Want to join me? No. Sasuke answered. You aren't going anywhere. Kakashi declared. We had a hell of a mission, we need to report to the Hokage. This earned a collective sigh from the group. Hiruzen eyed the team before him. He could already feel a massive headache beginning to grow, as well as paperwork piles. So you went on a mission to guard a bridge builder. He started, faced an A-rank ninja and ended up freeing an entire nation from a tyrant. He looked at the blonde. Then got a bridge named after you. He looked over the reports. Did I miss anything? Yes. Naruto spoke. Haku. The Hokage turned his attention to the young Kunoichi. It says that you have no village affiliation. He spoke. Is that true? Yes, Hokage-sama. Haku began. I was born in Mist, but the bloodline purge forced me to leave with Zabuza-sama. I see. He mumbled. Well, if wish, we could use your talents here. He looked over the reports. It says that you're quite skilled. I don't think I would have been able to beat her on my own. Naruto admitted. What do you plan to do? Hiruzen asked. The choice is yours. I wish to join the village. She answered as glanced at Naruto. Well, you are an unusual case, with your background I mean. The elder admitted. I will take this up with the council. If they agree to it, then we can have you enlisted after a small probation period. Thank you, Hokage-sama. She bowed. Naruto strolled through the village, ignoring the glares, with a small smile on his face. It only grew larger when a pair of small hands covered his eyes. What are you so happy about? A voice asked from behind him. Oh, I'm just on my way to see a certain someone. He answered. Is it a girl? Yep, pretty, beautiful, blonde. How'd you guess? Naruto asked, feigning shock. Well, I see a girl like her every day and she's amazing. Oh, and where do you see her? Naruto asked with curiosity. In the mirror, duh. Well, since only one girl fits all of those amazing qualities, you must be INO. With their mock game of 20 questions over, Naruto turned to meet Ino's gaze. Miss me? He asked. Believe it, she stated. I will pay you to not say that again. He stated as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh, and what will you pay me in? She asked as she leaned in. Remember, I'm not cheap. I will pay you in kisses. He answered as he leaned to meet her. Their little game was cut short when Naruto felt a pair of arms lightly slide around his shoulders and grab his chest. On instinct, Naruto jumped from the grasp to see Haku. And who's your friend Naruto-kun? Haku asked. And Naruto. Ino began in shock. Who the hell is she? I asked first. Haku stated. I'm his girlfriend, she declared. Now, who are you? This is Haku, Naruto answered. We met on the mission in Wave Country. Why was she grabbing onto you? Ino asked, ignoring Haku. It's not what you think. He tried to assure. She and I are, so you do have some kind of relationship. Ino declared. Oh, do we? Haku smirked. Shut up. Naruto yelled in anger. Naruto, you jerk. Ino shouted as she ran off. Ino, he yelled as he attempted to run after her. He stopped when she kept on and refused to look back. He turned his attention to Haku. Haku, he began calmly, too calmly. I know you want to kill me and you're welcome to try. He stated, but if you ever try to get to me through the few people I care about. She froze under his glare. His eyes were red. It wasn't the bloodline red that she saw. That was a pale red that only replaced the blue and gave his eyes an empty look. This one was a darker shade of red with a fox-like iris in the middle. There was no hollow emptiness in them. They were filled with raw hate. I'll break you. With that, he was gone. Naruto was blowing off some steam on the team training ground. He was disappointed in himself again. Not only for his lack of control, but also for his lack of mercy. If he had killed her when he had the chance, he wouldn't be dealing with this. Is it too late? Maybe he could. I need to control myself, he mentally stated. His thoughts were heading to dark corners, a bad thing for a shinobi. That was when his danger senses went off. He turned around with his kunai in hand, intending to maim, only for it to be blocked. It was a root shinobi. Better, Danzo stated from the side. You're making progress. He motioned to the root. He's one of my best in stealth. Thank you, Naruto spoke. Not like you to make checkups though. The girl, Haku, he began. I read the reports. What do you plan to do with her? She could be enlisted in Konoha ranks. She's more than qualified, Naruto began. Though I must warn you that she has a vendetta against me. Naruto began retelling the events of the mission. Interesting, Danzo stated. What are you planning? Naruto asked. Think she'd make an excellent root. She would, but no. Danzo stated. Her bloodline would draw too much attention. Plus her vendetta makes her unstable. Are you sure it was wise to bring her? Not after that stunt she played. Naruto thought to himself. Yes, very well. Danzo spoke as he turned to leave but stopped. You will be summoned for a council meeting about the mission. So prepare yourself. Understood. Quote. Is there anything else? Naruto asked. That Yamanaka girl. Danzo spoke. You like her. At this, Naruto began to blush harder than ever. I might, Naruto stated as he scratched his cheek. Then go after her, Danzo ordered. Aren't you against emotions in shinobi? Naruto asked suspiciously. In most, but you're a different case. He stated. You are a host, meaning your emotions are tied to your tailed beast. We can't have you in an emotional strain. He pointed his cane at the blonde. You're also a teenager, meaning you have little control over yourself. Even as a shinobi. So what should I do? Naruto asked. You're not on a mission, so feel. Danzo stated. Otherwise, you might become a threat. The elderly man made his exit with that statement. After a while, Naruto had finished his training and preparations. In the end, they were all distractions. He had bigger things to take care of. That was why he was standing in front of the Yamanaka clan compound. You can do this, Naruto. He spoke to himself. You fought rogue ninjas and just freed an entire country. You can do this. Hey, who's out there? A voice asked from an upper window. Our blonde didn't answer. He just ran. He had no idea as to what he should be doing. Screw this. Naruto decided to do this the ninja way. As soon as the sun set, he made his way back to the clan compound. Using his bloodline, he found Ino's chakra in the upper part of the compound with a window near a large tree. She was alone. Good, he thought. Makes this easier. He decided to climb with his hands instead of chakra. He didn't want to alert anyone. It wasn't difficult thanks to his ninja training. Too easy. Shouldn't a ninja clan make their home more difficult to focus? He couldn't afford to be distracted. He made his way to the window and saw her inside. She was sitting on a stool brushing her hair in front of a vanity mirror. Naruto silently opened the window. Slowly so it didn't make any noise. Ino, he began. Ino had thrown her hairbrush at Naruto, catching him by surprise, but he managed to catch it. When he turned back to her, she was holding her stool like a weapon. Naruto, what the hell are you doing here? She asked angrily. I came to apologize about Haku, he stated as he placed the brush down. She's been practicing. HMPH, why would I care about her? Ino asked as she turned her head up. It's not like we're a couple or anything. What? We went on 2 dates in 1 day. Ino stated as she sat down to her mirror. It doesn't really make us official. Naruto was at a loss. What she said was true. There was nothing official between them. They had literally been together for 2 days before he went to Wave. What should I do? He really liked her and wanted to be with her. He could throw a tantrum and fight for her. No, that wasn't him anymore. It was her choice. He wouldn't force himself on her. He wouldn't be a sad fanboy like with Sakura. There is nothing between Haku and me, except hate. Naruto stated. She just wants to hurt me. Ino didn't turn around. Goodbye, Ino, was all he said before jumping out the window. Ino watched him leave from the reflection of her mirror. Naruto, she mumbled, too low for him to hear. Naruto landed with a thud, no longer trying to hide himself. His mind was in turmoil. His girlfriend had basically broke up with him. All because of a stunt pulled by Haku. Control yourself, he ordered. The Danzo's words echoed in his head. In most, but you're a different case. He stated. You are a host, meaning your emotions are tied to your tailed beast. We can't have you in an emotional strain. He pointed his cane at the blonde. You're also a teenager, meaning you have little control over yourself. Even as a shinobi. So what should I do? Naruto asked. You're not on a mission, so feel. Danzo stated. Otherwise, you might become a threat. Fine, he thought. He let his anger out. He punched the tree that led to Ino's room. Half of it shattered into splinters under his force. The other half toppled over from not being able to support itself. It fell into the ground with a loud crash, missing the home by inches. He looked at the damage he had done. His hand was already healing. That felt good. He decided to go and blow off some more steam. He made his way to the nearest training ground. Fortunately it was empty. Hey, what are you doing here? Or so he thought. He turned to see a girl about a year or two older than him. She wore a Chinese top with green pants, a practical outfit. I'm just here to blow off some steam. Naruto answered. And you? This is my team's training ground. She answered. I apologize, I'll be leaving. Naruto stated as he walked away. Wait, no need to leave, she spoke. I could use a sparring partner if you're up to it. Naruto thought about it. He did come to blow off some steam. No thanks, don't want to hurt you. He mumbled. He was shocked when a kunai flew by his cheek, giving him a shallow cut, drawing a trickle of blood. You think I'm weak? She asked angrily. Is it because I'm a female? Gender has nothing to do with strength. Naruto stated. Then you're just arrogant. I came to blow off steam, I don't want to lose control. He explained, hoping to reason with her. Then you're the one who should be worried. She stated with a smirk. A shinobi who doesn't have his head on straight in battle will only be a hindrance to himself and team. It's nice to see a kunoichi that's taking this seriously. Naruto stated. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I'm 10-10, just 10-10. She stated. About that spar. Fine. It was his intention after all. Naruto saw her back up and pull out a scroll. From it she summoned a katana. There were other seals for holding more objects, as well as another scroll on her hip. A weapon specialist, Naruto guessed. Yep, all sorts of bad boys in here. She stated as she raised the scroll. But this sword will be enough to beat you. Confident, Naruto smirked. He drew his WC blade. Oh my, is that the white chakra blade? She squealed. Where did you get that? Naruto was taken back by her sudden change. Gone was the kunoichi, replaced by a fangirl. It was a gift from my sensei. He answered. Let's see how good you are. She spoke. They charged each other, weapons out. Their blades met when they collided and held a small power struggle before backing away. 10-10 swung for a blow that would have done a lot of damage had Naruto not grabbed her by the arm. It didn't stop her. She gave a high kick to the face that forced him back. She swung for his head diagonally, which he ducked. With her wide open, he slammed the butt of his weapon into her stomach. He moved in for another attack, but she jumped back. She pulled out another scroll. What happened to beating me with the sword? Naruto asked. It seems you're too good at close range. She stated. Only a fool would push on if outmatched, even in a spar. You think you're outmatched by a few blows? Naruto asked. How would she know that? You're not familiar with weapon combat, are you? She asked. No, I don't have many decent training buddies. He admitted. Care to fix that? Sure. She smiled. Would be nice to have a weapon buddy. While they had been talking, 10-10 had been unraveling a scroll. When done, she jumped high into the air and aimed the seal towards Naruto. It fired several kunai and shurikens in a rapid barrage. Damn. Naruto threw a few shuriken of his own and began sealing. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. The jutsu multiplied his weapons enough to match hers, each clashing and knocking the other out of the way. When it was over, there was nothing but a field of metal. Where is he? She asked herself. She had taken her eyes off of him for a fraction of a second. Bad move in the shinobi world. 10-10 felt a finger on the back of her head. I win. Naruto states. What do you have? He fired at the ground by her foot, silencing her. You win. 10-chan. He spoke, gaining a blush. Would you like to have dinner with me? He asked. I'm told I'm a good cook. Naruto was currently training the K Corps. Unlike most children who would graduate with dreams of the ninja world, he wanted to make sure that they were ready for the truth. That meant they needed to be strong and smart. So he showed little restraint. He gave just enough to show them what they were in for, but held back just enough so there wouldn't do any long-lasting damage. A bruise. Here and a cut there with lots and lots of killing intent. Still want to be ninja? Naruto asked again. Yes. They answered as one. He asked that question several times before, during and after each training session. They answered the same each time, showing their dedication. Uzumaki. A voice called. Naruto turned to see an Anbu and smiled. It was Kat. He didn't get to see her often since their mission together. Hello. What can I do for you? Naruto asked. You were needed for your meeting with the council. She states. Did the council ask or demand for me? Naruto asked annoyed. Well, she trailed off. I only follow the demand of my superior officer and Hokage. Naruto stated. Tell them that. He heard a faint giggle come from behind her mask. You're going to send them into a fit. She left in a body flicker. We'll cut this short, Naruto stated to the K Corps. I need to prepare. By prepare, he needed to get ready for the upcoming headache. He had sent the K Corps off to relax after their training. Now he was alone in the training ground, meditating. Uzumaki. A shinobi called. Not an Anbu, another sent by the council. The council demands your presence. I know, I'm waiting for the Hokage. Naruto spoke. They ordered me to use force if needed. He spoke. You're a shinobi, you don't need to do as they say. Naruto offered. He didn't listen, he just drew his sword and took a stance. Just as he was about to make a move, Kat arrived in a body flicker. Uzumaki. Hokage-sama has give the Hayate. She spoke before looking between the two. What's going on? Has the old man given the okay? Naruto asked and received a nod. Then I'll be on my way. He left the couple to their own devices. Naruto entered the council meeting with complete calmness. Someth Ing told him that he wouldn't leave the same way. He looked at the people who were present. The Hokage. The Shinobi Council, comprised of all the village's main clan heads. The Elder, the Hokage's advisors and former teammates. The Civilian Council, made up of merchants and businessmen. Lastly, Haku. Greetings Hokage-sama, Danzo-san and honorable clan heads. The blonde greeted. After a pause, oh. Nay of the Civilian Council members coughed. Is something wrong? Do you know why you were called here today? Danzo asked. I can assume. Naruto answered. 2 days ago, you returned from an C-A rank mission. The Hokage spoke. You returned with Haku, apprentice of Zabuza Momochi. An A rank missing nin and an adversary on your mission. Correct. Why did you bring back this girl? A female clan head spoke. She must be Kiba's mom. Naruto thought as he saw the markings. I thought that she would be a great asset to the village. Naruto answered. I attempted to bring back Momochi as well. But he refused and died in battle. How would she assist the village? The woman asked firmly and coldly. She is a skilled fighter and has shown to have some medical knowledge. Naruto explained. Along with the training I'm sure she was given by Zabuza. That's all. A civilian asked. Naruto sighed. Should she decide to take on a lover and bear a child, she could pass on a bloodline. What do you mean should? A civilian asked. Hokage-sama has already agreed to allow her to join the village. Naruto answered. She is now a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf village. So, unlike men, women can't bear multiple children with multiple spouses. Naruto explained. But she can still breed. The man stated. This is getting us nowhere. Naruto mentally sighed. He was sure the man just wanted to cause him a headache. Let's try this from a different route. She has taken interest in the Uchiha. Naruto stated randomly. Oh, well, never mind. The civilian stated. The Uchiha is a good choice. Gotcha. The blonde thought. I lied. She has shown no interest in anyone to my knowledge. Naruto informed. Tell me, why would her being with the Uchiha make any difference? All eyes were on the councilman and awaiting an answer. Well, he was at a loss. The CRA is made so that men could save a dying clan or increase chances of producing a child with a bloodline. Sum informed. Would you force the same on a man? As if a man would turn down a harem. A councilman joked. I would. Naruto stated. As if you could get a date. Someone sneered. You would have to pay the ugliest and cheapest whore to. I'll have you know that he dated my daughter. Inoichi informed angrily. Care to repeat that again? You let your daughter near him. Yes, is there something wrong with him? Inoichi asked calmly. There's still the matters of Zabuza's weapon. Another civilian spoke. What shall we do with it? If I may, Naruto spoke to the Hokage. I request that it be given to Haku. What? It should be given to a capable Junin. Someone shouted. Or at least the Uchiha. A weapon like that can't be used to its fullest by the Junin here. Danzo stated. We don't have anyone able to use such a large weapon as adequately as they could their usual sword. They could learn. A waste of time and potential skill. Danzo stated. Haku here appears to already have no edge on the correct use of such a weapon. None of the civilians could refute the sound statement and the shinobi wouldn't try. The reason they even made it was because Naruto wanted to give it to Haku, no other reason. If that is all, the third spoke as he prepared to end the meeting. Then you all are. Naruto was relieved. That hadn't been half as painful as he feared. Maybe he could actually get out of here. 1 second Hokage-sama, a civilian spoke. There are a few more matters to discuss. No, it was never allowed to be that easy. There have been several complaints of assault from him during the mission. Another civilian spoke as he pointed to Naruto. Care to explain yourself? No, I do not. Naruto answered as he turned to leave. Don't you walk away from us, boy. Someone shouted. Naruto continued on. Naruto. The third spoke. Naruto stopped and turned towards the village leader. Yes, Hokage-sama, Naruto asked. Please be seated so we can solve this, otherwise they won't relent. He begged. I don't want complaints from them again. Yes, sir. Such disrespect. I see no disrespect. Hiruzen spoke. He disobeyed. He follows my command, not yours. The Hokage spoke coldly. Don't forget that. Oh, of course. Naruto didn't hide his smirk, or smile of appreciation. During the mission to Wave, both the Uchiha and Haruno disobeyed my orders after Kakashi-sen's. Left me in charge before he collapsed of chakra depletion. Naruto informed. The Uchiha showed recklessness and arrogance while Haruno listens to him like a lost puppy and makes no effort to improve her own skills. So you found the need to attack them? Someone asked. I found the need to punish and discipline them. Naruto corrected. They were lucky that it was all I did to them. What do you mean? I could have, on several occasions, executed both of them during the mission. He informed. They were insubordinate and a danger to the mission. He is correct. Hiruzen stated before glaring at the civilians. And there would have been no repercussions. The Shinobi Council nodded in agreement. But he's the last Uchiha. Someone declared. We can't let his bloodline end. As that, why you had our sensei focus on him instead of all of his students? Naruto asked, leaving his others to fend for themselves. We needed the Uchiha to be stronger so that he could kill his brother. Someone stated. And then what? Naruto asked. You thought he'd move on. That he'd be grateful for all your ass kissing, that he'd marry your daughters and make your clans great. When none of them said anything, he knew he was right. Why not breed him? Haku asked. She has a point. Naruto stated. He's a guy, so you can have him breed with as many women as you want. We the council will decide what to do with him. Someone declared. Not some demon. Too late. He tried covering his mouth. Naruto stood up and made his way towards the civilian who spoke. He said nothing as he closed the gap between them with slow but deliberate steps. There was no mistaking his intentions. You broke the third Hokage's law. Naruto stated. Punishment. Death. Why you can't hurt me? The man declared. I'm a part of the council. I'm in charge. Do you feel in charge? Naruto asked as he raised his hand. Why you're just a genin. He stated with growing fear. I'm a part of the council. And you think this gives you power over me? Quote. He never gave the man a chance to answer. Naruto simply placed a finger onto his head and fired. You don't normally take that long to make a kill, Naruto. Danzo stated. Usually they don't even know T's about to happen. I was making a statement. Naruto informed as he eyed the council. No one is above the law. Why you killed him? Someone stated in shock. Yes, I did. Naruto answered calmly. I'm a shinobi. It's what I do. It's what you send your children to the academy to learn to do. He noticed many of them pale. But what? Naruto asked. You thought your kids wouldn't have to. When you send your children to the academy, it's so that they can learn to serve the village to the fullest. Danzo stated. If need be, to commit mass murder or suicide. If your daughters are lucky, and I mean really lucky, they'll be able to give their virginity to someone they like instead of someone they need to gather intel on. Many of you think had your children would make your family equal to one of the shinobi clans or better, right? A shinobi clan head asked, probably thinking they'll be one of the new Sannin or a famous village hero. The shinobi world isn't like that. Another spoke. We send our families out to die. Someone shouted. Or we go out and get killed and leave behind widows and orphans, not even knowing what kind of parents they had. Naruto watched the civilians crumble under the relentless shinobi council with bittersweet feelings. It seemed that the clan heads were aware of their duty and trying to beat it into the civilians. He doubted it'd do any good, though he enjoyed watching it immensely. Naruto. The Nara head spoke. This caught the attention of most since the Nara was usually half asleep during these meetings. Yes, you said that your sensei spent most of his time training the Uchiha, correct? He asked. Crap, leave it to a Nara. Naruto thought in frustration to his error. Yes, I did. Then, where did you get the skills you acquired? The Nara asked. There was a moment of silence as Naruto considered his answer. He didn't want to make the same mistake. Information was a powerful weapon. Then an idea struck him. One that could benefit him. He asked you a question. Someone shouted. That's classified. Danzo spoke up. Actually Danzo-sama, that brings up another topic. Naruto spoke as he turned to his village leader. My heritage. Naruto. The third spoke in a warning tone. The Chunin exams are coming up in a few months. Naruto continued. Hosted here. What of it? More Han likely Team 7 will be participating in it. Naruto answered. I know you all can't wait to show off the last Uchiha's power. He spoke mockingly. When you do, that is enough. Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen spoke with the power of a cage. Naruto simply gave him a blank stare before bowing. Yes, Hokage-sama. He had done what he wanted. He made the council curious. People like them wouldn't stand for curiosity if they could help it. And they'd do their best to find answers. This meeting is over. The leader spoke as he left. Dismissed. Naruto had made it only 2 steps from the council room before Danzo stopped him. You're playing a dangerous game. He warned. He's called the Professor for a reason. Let him play his game. A new voice spoke. The outcome will be the same. They turned to see Haku. Sword in possession. What do you want? Naruto asked. I wanted to thank you for returning Zabuza's sword to me. She answered. But also to warn you that I haven't forgiven you. I understand. He answered. We'll have that final fight one day. With nothing more to say, Naruto left. He had only one thing on his mind. Ramen. He moaned as he inhaled the savory scent, letting it fill his nostrils and draw him in. He raised the chopsticks, holding the perfect amount with great balance. Dead last. It was so close. Naruto turned to see Sasuke and INO. Hello INO, what are you up to? We're on a date, jealous? Sasuke asked. No, Naruto answered. This wasn't the reaction the two desired, but it didn't mean they would give up just yet. I have to thank you actually. INO spoke. Ever since I got off that diet, I've been developing properly. To prove her point, she took a pose. A lady with a snake wrapped around her stopped by her. If you got it, flaunt it. She declared as she took off her trench coat, revealing fishnets underneath, and strutted away. Glad I didn't wear a bra. Stop trying to act cool, you idiot. Sasuke ordered. I'm with your woman. You can't tell me you aren't jealous. INO was never my woman, she's always been her own. Naruto answered. Besides, I'm single. What about that black-haired hussy? INO asked as she turned her nose up. Haku and I were never together. Naruto answered. In fact, she wants to kill me. This info struck INO hard. She knew Naruto was many things and that, outside of work, he was no liar. If he said something was so, it was more than likely true. Shit, she thought. Enjoy your date, Naruto stated as he walked away. She wanted to reach out after him and see if it was true, but she couldn't make herself. Sasuke just pulled her away towards their date. I can't believe that he wasn't jealous. Sasuke grumbled before glaring at Ino. Why didn't you tell me you two were separated? Ought you knew when he brought Haku back. Ino answered lowly. That bitch, he grumbled. She won't take his head. That's mine, then hers, then him. So it was true, Ino thought. I've screwed up. Yes, Ino, you did. Let's enjoy our date, Sasuke-kun. She whispered. Sasuke had taken Ino to a very expensive restaurant where they had the best cuisines. It smells wonderful, she thought as she inhaled deeply. Almost as good as Stop. You're on a date with Sasuke-kun. So Sasuke-kun, she began. How have you been since graduation? How's your sensei? She asked. Ours is a bit lazy, but he's smart. That was all Ino got in the form of stimulating conversation. It seemed the Uchiha wasn't one for words. Usually Naruto would. Your food has arrived. The waiter spoke. Ino looked at the food and felt her stomach rumble. She didn't even notice what the Uchiha decided to eat. It was a large bowl of detox ramen, a bowl-made ramen mixed with mostly its vegetable ingredients. A healthy bowl of ramen. That'll show Naruto I can eat ramen and still diet, she thought defiantly. She took a large amount in her chopstick and swallowed it whole. It was amazing, she got. The taste of ramen Naruto loved and didn't risk her figure. That'll show Whiskers what he's missing, she thought. As she ate, she noticed something odd. Food began to grow saltier by the scoop. Shish. Looked down and saw that some clear liquid was dripping inside her food. That's disgusting. She thought the place was leaking. Should I sue? What's wrong with you? Sasuke asked. Ino was confused at the Uchiha's question. She was fine. She rubbed her face to see if something was wrong. It was wet. Tears. She was crying. I don't know, she answered. Well, stop it, he demanded. You're getting that date you always wanted. Be happy. I can't believe I'm wasting time on her, he thought. Sorry Sasuke-kun. She couldn't bring herself to add the honorific as she dried her eyes. She silently ate the ramen but couldn't force it down. The food had become bitter to her tongue, even the smell made her want to gag. Naruto wouldn't tell me to stop, she thought. He'd make me laugh instead. Here she was, eating at a fancy restaurant with the boy she had a crush on in the academy. Yet she could only think of Naruto. I'm sorry, she mumbled. What? Sasuke asked. This isn't working. She spoke up. Ino stood up to leave but was stopped by Sasuke grabbing her arm. Where do you think you're going? He snapped. First you chase me through academy. Then you hang with the dead last and suddenly you're done. He yelled. I wasted my time on this date and you think you can leave. You're hurting my arm, she stated as she tried pulling away. Too bad. Let her go, a voice calmly demanded. Sasuke turned to see who would dare to demand of him. Of course, he thought bitterly. It was Naruto. Naruto-kun. Ino cried happily. What are you doing here? Sasuke asked smugly. Came back for Ino. I was running for my life when I come across this. He motioned to the failed date. While they sat there, he pointed to the customers who ignored everything. So if they won't help, guess I will. She doesn't want your help, Sasuke stated. She's enjoying the date she always wanted. Really? Naruto asked with a roll of his eyes. Ino, are you enjoying your date? She shook her head while whispering. No. Would you like me to take you home? Naruto asked. Yes. She spoke louder while nodding. She made to move towards her fellow blonde, only to be stopped by Sasuke. She's not going anywhere, he stated. Ino was getting scared. The Uchiha was showing his true nature and no one seemed to care. On one hand, Naruto seemed to be going out of his way to help even if they aren't together. Naruto's eyes began to turn a pale red as he activated his bloodline. He didn't need to lock eyes with Sasuke for this next part. The Uchiha felt his alarms go off, telling him that an enemy was behind him. Yet Naruto was in front of him. A clone, he thought as he swung his hand backwards. He connected with nothing but the open air. He turned back just in time to see Naruto's fist. Ino looked at the fallen Uchiha in disgust. Shamefully, she raised her head to look at Naruto. He looked back at her as if he was looking at an everyday friend, no annoyance or expectations from her. Ready to go home? He asked. She didn't know what to say. I'm sorry. It's okay. He smiled. She looked up in shock. He had just forgiven her, just like that. Just like that. Well, if he was vindictive, he'd be more like Sasuke Tem. She thought. So, no Haku. No Haku. He answered. INO walked through the village on Naruto's arm in complete happiness. He had forgiven her for her foolishness without any form of backlash. Hey Naruto-kun, how come you showed up at the right place at the right time? INO asked with a smug smile. Were you spying on me? Nope, he answered. Running for my life. What? Let's see. He began. She should be. He ducked, pulling INO down in the process, to avoid a kunai. They followed the path it came from to see an angry, bun-haired Ten. You, a voice filled with anger shouted. Your cooking made me gain weight. And who is she? INO asked with her hand on her hip. Cooking for other women. Oh boy, Naruto thought. Naruto was in a good mood. He was in an official relationship with INO. His was getting stronger with his training. His unofficial students were getting stronger as well under his watch and fist. But there was the bad as well. Baka, Dobi. His sensei had called a team meeting with them and as usual, he was late. Naruto did his best to drown out the others, but training could only do so much. Hello team. Kakashi greeted. You're late. I passed a black cat, so I had to backtrack around the village. He stated with an eye smile. I have good news, I recommended you 3 for the Chunin exams. Sasuke and Sakura gained looks of excitement. The chance of promotion will do that to you. Are you insane? Naruto asked. Something wrong? Their sensei asked. He's just scared. We'll get killed out there. Naruto stated. Sure, Sasuke has a little skill but not enough to face the best of the other villages. And Sakura has no skill. I believe your teamwork will. You want us to participate in these exams with our level of teamwork? Naruto asked, cutting Kakashi off. Sakura would spend her time fawning over the Uchiha, thinking he will rescue her. In all honesty, he'd more than likely use us as a meat shield. Well, Kakashi had nothing to refute that logic. Sasuke snatched the waivers from the Junin's hand. I'll show you that I can beat these exams without you, Dobi. Sasuke stated. I can beat those weakling from those other villages, just watch. Yeah, Sakura followed his example. If Sasuke's entering, then so am I. There was only one waiver left, so Naruto took it. The choice is yours, Naruto. Kakashi stated. You don't have to enter. Naruto was meditating in the training ground, trying to decide on whether or not he should enter the exams. On one hand, if they enter and fail, it could end up in a death sentence against one of the foreign enemies. On the other, if he managed to pass all the exams, he wouldn't have to deal with the Uchiha and his pet. Decisions. Ramen will help me think. He muttered. Boss. A panicked voice called. Naruto turned to see Konohamaru and Udon running towards him. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Moegi, some creep kidnapped her. Udon answered. Naruto thought this one over. He had trained the K-Core to be at a decent level himself. Whoever had kidnapped Moegi obviously wasn't a civilian. Where are they? Naruto asked. Right here. A voice called from behind. Naruto and the remaining K-Core turned to see Moegi in the hands of some stranger, a kunai at her neck. He was wearing a tattered cloak, hiding both his identity and headband. If he wore one, Naruto tried to activate his bloodline to see who was under the cloak, but couldn't. His eyes told him that no one was there. It wasn't a genjutsu, poison and drugs don't work on him. So he wasn't hallucinating, he just couldn't make heads or tails of it. Was it a bloodline? What do you want? Naruto asked. To keep you weaklings out of the exams. He answered. They're no place for someone like you. So he knows me. Naruto thought. Either a villager who doesn't want me to enter, or someone paid to do this. It didn't matter in the end. He was the enemy and Moegi was his hostage. Earth style. Earth swim jutsu. Naruto dived into the ground, before everyone's eyes. While the K-Core were impressed, the enemy became a little worried. Come out, or I kill this brat. The enemy shouts. Naruto did. He came out of the tree, literally, that the enemy was in. Smacking the kunai from his hand, he continued to reach out until his arms was around Moegi. With his free hand, he balanced off the enemy's foot, keeping his in place. While upside down, he delivered a mule-like kick into the enemy's chest, causing a few ribs to break. While the enemy fell, Naruto jumped to the ground with a safe Moegi. That was so cool, boss. The K-Core praised. Naruto didn't acknowledge him, he kept his eyes on the enemy. This isn't over, he shouts as he attempts to stand. Tell me who you are. Naruto ordered as he pointed a single finger at the enemy. What, do you have loaded fingers? The enemy mocked. Naruto didn't answer, he just lowered his finger and held it at the enemy's feet. The stranger followed his finger until he saw it, an explosive tag. He had no chance at removing it as it went off. You're safe now, Naruto told the K-Core. He then heard it, clapping. It wasn't the mocking clap you always hear the bad guys make that signaled trouble. It was a congratulatory clap. Naruto turned to see who it was, weapon ready and waiting. From the smock walked the enemy with his cloak in tatters. He pulled off the last piece to reveal, Iruka's sensei. Naruto asked in shock, My Naruto, you have grown strong. He smiled. Naruto's eyes snapped open in, what were the words? Shock, excitement, whatever it was heavy. But not enough to keep a smile off of his face. That's Iruka-sensei for you. Naruto thought, always teaching, even in death. 5 minutes later and 6 bowls fuller, Naruto was still undecided. Rocks aren't square, Naruto shouted as he turned to see the K-Core hiding. Get out of there, we knew you'd see through our disguise. Konohamaru stated with a smile. That was a poor disguise. He thought, what do you three want? You promised you'd play ninja with us today. A ninja playing ninja, you really are pathetic. Naruto didn't even acknowledge Sakura. He was about to blow them off when a thought hit him. You know what, I will. Really? Yeah, your hiding skills were so poor it's embarrassing. He stated, making them feel bad, so let's fix that. The idea of training brought them back. How? With Pinky here, Naruto answered pointing to Sakura. Her skills are so poor that you should be able to hide from her. But she's not dumb enough to fall for square boxes. What? She asked in outrage. What makes you think I'll help these brats? Hey Naruto, is this your? Konohamaru ended the question by extending his pinky. As if I'd go out with that idiot. She answered before he could. I only want Sasuke-kun. Thank goodness, you can do much better. He answered, maybe a girl with a normal-sized forehead. And there it is, Naruto thought. You little, she screamed as she chased after the K-Core. Put Sakura with a few smart-mouthed kids and she blows her lid. He thought, better go make sure they don't kill each other. Though Sakura was an actual ninja, she was weak, but angry. While the K-Core weren't ninja, they had been training under him. If he had to guess, they were about on even level. Actually, the K-Core had a slight edge. Naruto drilled true teamwork and skills in them. He kept at a slight distance as he watched the chase, it was slightly comedic. Until they bumped into a sand shinobi. That hurt you little brat. The bandaged one spoke. Sorry. Sakura apologized. Kankuro, we have to go. His partner stated. Not until I teach this brat a lesson Tamari. He stated as his grabbed the kid and held him up. Then his mental alarms went off, trained from being a shinobi. Kankuro, his sister called. Boss. The cried in joy. Kankuro turned at the sound of his sister's nervous voice. There stood Naruto behind her with a kunai at her throat. A second Naruto stood beside him, relaxed but with his hand on the WCB. That key, you're holding is the grandson of the Hokage. Naruto informed calmly. You're not trying to start a political incident, are you? No. Kankuro growled. A rock came from the trees and slammed into the sand ninja's hand, forcing him to drop the kid. All eyes turned to Sasuke. How long do you plan on staying up there? Naruto asked. Dobi. Not you Tem. Naruto stated. Him. That was we. And they realized Sasuke wasn't alone in the tree, a redhead was there as well. Naruto noticed how the two sand nin tensed in fear at his presence. The red head disappeared via sand body flicker and reappeared beside his team. Gaara. Shut up Kankuro, or I'll kill you. Gaara stated. I apologize for my brother. No problem. Gaara was it. Yes, I am curious of your name as well. Naruto just smiled at the redhead. Not a kind nor unkind one, it was a secretive one. It told the sand ninja that he wasn't going to be revealing that information. His teammate stepped in. I'm Sasuke Uchiha. Gaara didn't spare him a second glance as he turned to leave. Naruto turned to do the same. Wait, Sakura shouted. What are sand ninja doing here? You must be green. Temari taunted as she pulled out her pass. They're here for the Chunin exams. Naruto informed. Grabbing the corpse under his arms, he left in a body flicker. So you came? Sasuke asked. Of course. Naruto answered. I NT to get off this team and move up in rank as much as you do. HN. The trio made their way inside of the building to start their trials. As they made their way up a few flight of stairs, they noticed something. There was a gathering of genin from all around gathered at a door. Naruto even saw a few that he either met or studied. What's going on? Naruto asked himself. Genjutsu. I see. It was obviously a trick to weed out the weaker of the genin. Naruto saw Sasuke had a familiar look in his eyes. One that he usually had when he was going to ridicule someone and proclaim his superior over them. Not this time, Naruto thought as he grabbed the Uchiha. It's a trick to weed out the weak. Naruto stated to his team. Let's go. They're not worth my time. Sasuke stated as he moved past them. Always gotta state you're the best. Naruto thought with a roll of his eyes. They made it into a large room that led to the entrance of their exams. Hey you, Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto didn't look back as his teammate met Rock Lee. He was familiar with the taijutsu beast and his power. It would be over in 5 minutes. Naruto came up to a door that would started the trials. In front of it was their sensei, Kakashi. Hello sensei. Naruto. Kakashi greeted. Where are the other two? Meeting Lee. Naruto answered. They should be here in a few minutes with some new bruises. Have some faith in. Never mind. Kakashi mumbled as he saw his remaining students. Sensei. Sakura spoke. What are you doing here? I came to see if you all would be participating. He answered. Unless all three agree to it, none of you can enter. So you hoped we would all agree to this, knowing we can't agree on anything else? Naruto asked. Just get in there. The members of Team 7 were greeted with a wave of killer intent the moment they walked into the room. Naruto brushed it off, too used to it. Sasuke, while not as adjusted to it, pushed through as well so as not to be shown up. Sakura, Naruto-kun. Ino cheered as she jumped onto his back. Hello Ino-chan. He greeted back. So all of the rookie 9 are here? Kiba asked. Actually, you have a few more. A voice spoke. All heads turned to see Haku. Beside her was Sai and another nameless genin. Together they made up another cell group of genin, even though their skills are far above that. Haku. Ino growled. Ino right. Sorry about the whole incident. Haku spoke. I just wanted to hurt your boyfriend and kill him. Wow. Kiba spoke. Everyone else was too shocked to form a decent word. You all may want to keep it down. A voice advised. Why is that? You're drawing unwanted attention. The rookie 9 turned their attention towards the other genin, just as their guest had advised. Nearly all of the non-Konoha genin were focused on them and releasing a stream of killer intent. Who are you? Kiba asked. I'm Kabuto. As they began talking, Naruto began tuning them out. He decided to do a little information gathering. Using his eyes, he looked at the competition, deciphering them. Nearly all of them were disablement, but he had learned not to be arrogant. That would lead to his death, or the death of one of his comrades. There were several that stood out above the rest. Gaara of the Sand. He had given off some bad vibes from their first meeting, and his sand smelled of blood. There was something else, something deep inside of him. A part of him, yet separate. The Kunoichi from Grass. She gave off even worse vibes than Gaara and held an air of death. Kabuto of the Leaf. Something about him threw the blonde off. He was a fake. A liar. That much was obvious. He even had enough chakra and control to match Kakashi. Naruto's attention came back on the rookie 9 at the call of his name. He had paid a bit of attention towards the conversation and knew that Kabuto was giving out information on the contestants. Let's see. Kabuto began. only for the card to fall from his hand with a hole in it. What's the big idea, Dobi? Sasuke growled. Scared we may learn you're not so great. Words are silver, but silence is gold. Naruto answered. Why would I want my potential enemies knowing anything about me? Naruto Uzumaki. The loaded finger, the killer. A voice began, rumored to have the fabled bloodline called the Killer's Glare. It was the grass kunoichi. Naruto had froze at the words that the kunoichi had spoke. He had made sure to keep the information under wraps. Only 2 people actually knew about his bloodline, Danzo and the Hokage. For this kunoichi to know, the Dobi has a bloodline. Sasuke asked only to be ignored. I never heard of it, must be as pathetic as he is. How does a grass kunoichi know so much about a Konoha genin? Naruto asked coldly. She only smiled. Words are silver, but silence is gold. Naruto's finger tensed. Naruto had vaguely heard Kabuto insult the Sound Village and saw them spring into action. He was tempted to interfere and aid him, he was still Konoha after all. But decided not to. He thought it would be a good idea to gauge them, both Sound and Kabuto. All right, maggots, someone shouted. Take your seats so we can begin the exams.